Around the time that Node was first released, I was working at Yahoo and getting kind of frustrated that I had to be context switching between PHP and JavaScript, PHP on the back end, JavaScript on the front end. So I thought, well, it's a programming language. Why don't we just have JavaScript on the server? And there was a handful of people all trying to kind of make that work. Kevin Dangor and Chris Kowal and a handful of others started this Server.js group that were trying to like come up with a specification for all of these new server-side JS platforms that people were trying to build. Node sort of came out of left field a little bit in terms of that space. I think Ryan Dahl kind of picked JavaScript not because he was particularly attached to JavaScript. It just was a good fit.
I realized that it did some sort of high-level language if I was, if I was actually going to get real users using this. And I looked around and I spent some time with Python, and I spent some time with Lua, and I spent some time with Haskell. And I think around January of 2000, I was sitting with my friend and I just had this idea like, oh shit, JavaScript, like fuck. It was like so perfectly clear at that moment that like, oh my God, this is the language. Like,
he had a particular kind of IO paradigm that he wanted to push, and JavaScript was kind of this perfect storm of like large community of developers. There's a lot of really good runtimes for the language, and it has no IO paradigms already, right? If you try to do that in Ruby or Perl or Python or whatever, you're sort of fighting this uphill battle because all the existing code is using this older, kind of more synchronous approach to IO. I think it was Node 0.0.2 I first came across and was like, oh, this is neat, and I tried to build it. It didn't build on my Mac, so I was like, well, this is obviously broken and not going to become anything, so whatever.
Matt and I had this idea that we were going to write a game on server-side JS and kind of to see what this stack can do and actually use it for a proper project.
I gave this talk at Yahoo about server-side JS. I'd built this little tic-tac-toe multiplayer game with a coworker of mine.
So here we go, we've got two different web browsers.
Somebody came up after the tech talk and was like, hey, have you checked out Node? And I was like, yeah, I tried it. It didn't really work. It seems kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of niche. He was like, well, you should give it another try. It's actually really cool. So I did. I went back and checked it out. At that point, it was like version 0.0.6. It did build on my machine. I played with it and I was like, oh, this is way better. This is the way to do it. Like, this actually feels much more like a JavaScript platform.
Slowly but surely, there were more and more people that just kind of appeared, and Isaac Schlueter came along and built this NPM system, this Node package manager.
There was a really small group of people, maybe dozens but not hundreds, on a mailing list and an IRC channel. People would share things. They'd be like, hey, I wrote this new library that's like a connector for such and such database, or it does this or that thing, parses email addresses, I don't know, whatever. Check it out, let me know what you think. And to use it, you have to download it from GitHub, and then you need to copy this other project into this place for its dependency. Then you need to run make, and then copy this file over to here, and yada, yada, yada. This is a pain in the ass. I wrote a message to the mailing list and was like, I think Node needs a package manager. Here's kind of what I think it should look like or how it should work. So that was NPM. It started out as essentially a bash script that I just called from a Node program. There was very little cleverness to it. And I copied a lot of paradigms and a lot of approaches from Yinst, which is the package manager that Yahoo used internally for development. The thing that Yahoo did was any developer can publish whatever they want into the internal registry, and you're supposed to just be publishing versions of your packages all the time, like when you're in dev mode, and then you kind of you move it into production when you ship your application or whatever. I kind of built NPM with that idea in mind of anybody should be able to publish anything. There's no barriers to entry there, mostly because I did not want to be in the loop. If somebody wanted to publish a package, it should just be like, yeah, you go do that, and I don't want to know about it. Yeah, and that's been pretty effective since, I think. People took to it pretty quickly.